itself. In this case, for example, panzer or a marder. Although luckily this time, ECevan can provide some fire support with its pack, which almost knocks out the armored car, but it makes it out in time. Dodimir requesting some reconnaissance to probably spot enemy positions. And I suspect artillery, yes indeed, howitzers going down right on the pack 38. First shot missing, second shot knocking out the crew members, third shot completely wiping out the pack itself. Bits of anti-tank gun flying everywhere. Armored cars in hiding behind, and we see a half-track moving up, getting the quad upgrade. And as we can see, oh, anti-tank grenade. That's a bit rare actually. Not a lot of panzergrenadiers that go for that, and with some good reason, since while it does do some damage, it's also pretty inaccurate and also quite likely to miss. Stormtroopers moving ahead, suffering heavy losses because they weren't cloaked. And Panzer hitting the half-track but not doing a lot of damage. A rather spectacular failed assault from the Germans, it seems. Assault grenades going off, doing some damage and stunning, although they can't kill actually, but that will change with the next patch alongside a damage nerf, so they won't do as much damage. Doesn't mean they won't be useful, but they won't quite leave a squad completely wiped out in terms of health, ready to be picked off by another squad nearby. Sniper taking out the medics against the Geneva Convention, although I don't think they apply for a company of heroes last time I checked. Sniper skulking ahead, Airborne dropping in. 101st Airborne Division, Screaming Eagles. Armored cars lying in wait, trying to discourage any movements from the allies, but not, or they could just be hiding from the anti-tank gun, which have a secure presence for most of the map. Medic bunker within visual range of the rifleman, I suspect. Yes, meaning that a howitzer shot will probably be able to knock it out quickly. And we see armored cars rushing ahead. Snipers revealing themselves, but not yes being shot at. Although riflemen being the primary target, it seems. Howitzer shot going off, causing heavy damage, and we have finally some tank busters. Well, currently they are not as effective against armored cars as they could be, although that will be fixed with the next patch as well. Panzergrenadiers rushing ahead. Stormtroopers and Volksgrenadiers on the move too. But it doesn't look like he has much else to actually support. A bit dangerous, I think. I wonder what he's up to. Nothing, it seems. A bit odd. And certainly dangerous if he keeps suffering so heavy losses. He can only run around with 3 infantry teams for most of the game. Moving back to Dodimir. Americans consolidating the central point now, since they forced back the Germans with minimal losses. Snipers now with good veterancy stalking the battlefield and being a nightmare for the German troops. A bit one-sided, I can't help but feel at this moment, as the Germans don't really seem to be able to put up much of a solid fight. In particular, the Wehrmacht commander seems to have taken quite a beating, losing many stormtroopers and Volksgrenadiers, leaving him quite defenseless, and the Panzer Elite player has been rather reliant on the Wehrmacht player, not really done so much himself either. In particular, the snipers seem to have been doing a good job. 17 kills altogether for these 2 snipers. And we see a machine gun going out from Dodimir. So No Sherman tanks though. A bit unusual since I seem to recall that Dodimir always goes for Sherman tanks. Stu 42 Sturmhaubitze 42 opening fire. Killing a lot of riflemen in one shot. Apparently not compressed air this time around. Another shell going off. No. One casualty, it seems. Completely left behind in the smoke of plume. Not a single twitch. Wiped out. These Stu 42 holding the line. Veterancy 1 going up. And he's probably going to try and get more veterancy up to it, so it becomes a lot harder to take out. And oh dearie me, BigBadBru running right into a machine gun nest, anti-tank grenades knocking it out, but damage output will be a lot lessened and they will be unable to move fast with continued fire from the American troops since they are already suppressed, so they won't get up for a while. And a full round being initiated and howitzer shots going in as well. This being a good reason why you don't want to move your infantry in one huge blob, since one suppression fire from a machine gun and you're out. And hadn't he moved, he'd probably suffered even more obscene losses to that howitzer fire. And we have in fact a howitzer, M2 105mm howitzer covering the approach here. Armored cars and Stu holding out, stormtroopers moving ahead again, and reconnaissance detecting the Stu 42, which is now the recipient of a howitzer barrage again. A lot of artillery from Dodimir this time around, and no armor, despite the fact there's not really much heavy anti-tank assets from the Germans except a few panzer. Luftwaffe squads, so BigBadBru has gone for the Luftwaffe doctrine, relying on the 17th Luftwaffe Felddivision for support. Panzergrenadiers moving out in force, a large force in fact, probably a solid platoon there. Minor fighting in the center, although the Germans at the moment can't offer much heavy firepower, it seems. Anti-tank gun one-shotting the armored cars. Panzergrenadiers moving out, opening a lot of fire on the move, doing some damage, it seems, although I'd recommend him actually standing still and using cover. Armored car knocked out. Airborne and riflemen trying to do some damage but suffering heavy losses. Grenade going off, killing on some panzergrenadiers, 3 down. Screaming in pain, all wounded, all alive. Further heavy fire and the quad moving ahead. He sees heavy fire on the west and snipers almost taking out the stormtroopers, who should consider retreating before. Oh my goodness, 3 snipers, that's a lot of manpower. Probably somewhere 1,020 manpower. Quite lethal, and if BigBadBru hadn't upgraded his panzergrenadier squads, they could practically one-shot the entire squads, and BigBadBru would have not much to actually deal with them. Riflemen moving ahead. Snipers hitting, and howitzer shell knocking out 3 riflemen who are now running into the stormtroopers, who only have 1 rifle equipped man left, and he's gone with sniper shots. And another stormtrooper squad completely annihilated by these heavy sniper presence in the field, and this is really going downhill for the Germans. Not much they can do, it seems, constantly running forwards and getting slaughtered. Not too awfully exciting. But let's see, it still has half to go, so they must be able to do something interesting, something to catch the Americans off guard and force them back. And the Panzer lead player still has plenty of panzergrenadier squads, but he is going to need something a bit heavier than that, and something a bit more solid than armored cars. Engineers laying down mines. Snipers still sneaking around, not doing a lot. aircraft shot down, it seems. Although I'm not sure where it went down ultimately. We'll have to find out by accident. Stu 42 spotted and again under a howitzer barrage, and a second howitzer going up for Dodimir, who has a lot of snipers and a lot of howitzers. Certainly seems a bit lopsided, but so far the Germans haven't really been able to do anything that could really do something against it. No bikes to deal with the snipers, no real infantry presence, and quite often losing machine guns. In this case I suggest Mr. Evans to work on his unit preservation, as it does seem a bit off. Another heavy assault by the Americans, and further heavy sniper fire causing heavy casualties to the German troops. Stu 42 firing into the rifleman, only killing one this time. Machine gun fire as well. Further riflemen going down to the storm assault rifle equipped storm panzergrenadiers. Don't mind, I will count them stormtroopers, despite stormtroopers also having MP44s. And another Stu 42. Not sure that's the thing that is needed at this moment. Something a bit more offensive, I suspect. Something not firing compressed air. Americans taking in and pulling back a little, although they still hold the definite advantage. Further howitzer fire going off somewhere, firing right into the rear lines behind these Stu 42, probably trying to kill any troops rushing outwards. Pack slowly edging forward, snipers sneaking around, and opening fire on the bike. Knocked out now. And we see an armored car going up in smoke from the Stu 42. Certainly not bad, not bad. And we see the tank depot going up for Dodimir. So finally going for those German tanks. Not sure why the Americans aren't really pressing harder at this moment, since they do have the definite advantage. The Germans are quite worn down, and the Americans could pretty much seize the entire western half at their leisure without much interference. Stu 42 opening fire again. Quad opening fire on the panzergrenadiers were out in the open quite disastrously. Stu 42 knocking out a crew for the anti-tank gun, edging slowly forwards. Further heavy losses to the Americans, 9 killed so far. Further howitzer fire for the other one, which has 25, and Stu knocks out the quad half-track. Heavy artillery raining in from all sides, killing indiscriminately. It's a complete massacre, and sticky bombs and panzer shreks going off on the Stu 42, which is finally knocked out. A huge battle just took place here, and I think the Germans lost it once more despite inflicting heavy casualties. I'm pretty sure it's something the